Hey everyone! The new M2 MacBook Air is a computer I didn't care about at all when Apple first announced it, because I've been very happy with my new MacBook Pro and my iPad Pro, so I was like, cool, new MacBook Air, nice. But then I decided to actually give this computer a try, and honestly, I've been very impressed. Today's video is brought to you by Clean My Mac X, an all-in-one piece of software that helps keep your Mac in tip-top shape with peak performance. Try Clean My Mac X today for free at the link in the video description. Okay, so this computer, the M2 MacBook Air, people have had a lot to say about this computer. Some good things, some not so good things, try to spin up controversies for headlines and views. It's whatever. But I've used this computer for about a month now at this point, and spoiler alert, I definitely like it quite a bit, and it's a great machine. Okay, so first up, the design. Now, the M1 MacBook Air is still available on Apple's website, but this computer is a complete refresh and redesign to bring it more in line with the iPad Pro and new MacBook Pro in terms of design language. It's pretty consistent. And if thinness, lightness, and portability are priorities for you if you're looking for a new computer, this one is definitely one to consider. Especially if you're a student or you like to work at coffee shops or out and about, or even just at home around your home living space, this computer is very thin, very lightweight. It's 0.4 inches thick or 1.13 centimeters and weighs 2.7 pounds or 1.24 kilograms. And honestly makes the new MacBook Pro and even the iPad Pro feel kind of thick and heavy in comparison. But while this computer cuts down on the thickness, it also cuts down on the ports. You're getting 2 Thunderbolt ports, a headphone jack, and the MagSafe port. And that's it. There's no SD card slot, no other ports, nothing else. And you can only plug in one display at a time, so no multi-monitor setups with this computer, it's just one display, but it can power up to a 6K resolution display, so, I mean, that's pretty impressive, but still, one monitor only. The Air comes in a bunch of colors this year as well, but not iMac colors as we were hoping for. We're getting just some iPhone-like finishes. And the one I have is the Starlight color, which is kind of like a much more warm silver, not really a gold, but just a warmer version of the silver you'd expect on most Apple laptops. The one I'd avoid though is that new midnight color. I know it's very tempting with the matte black kind of look, but it picks up so many fingerprints and scratches. I've seen it in person, I've held it, I'm not really a fan. But that's just me. Now, opening up the laptop, we have the keyboard and trackpad front and center. And the keyboard here is excellent. It's honestly perfect in my opinion. I have no complaints. There's great tactility and key travel, there's solid spacing between the keys, so you're not going to be accidentally pressing keys while you're typing. It's very satisfying to type on. There's no touch bar nonsense, great function keys, it's fantastic. And has a Touch ID scanner, so you can easily log into your computer just with a tap. It works great. I know in the past Apple keyboards have kind of been a little bit hit or miss, but this time they figured it all out. And the trackpad is also excellent as well. It's large, it's spacious, responsive, and I've used it for editing videos, photos, daily usage. I never really thought, oh, I need a mouse to finish up this work. No, the trackpad's fantastic, it also works great. Now looking up from the keyboard, we have the 13.6-inch display here, and it is fantastic. Now, sure, it's not 120 Hz like the new MacBook Pro, it doesn't have that full brightness the MacBook Pro has, but this is, of course, a more affordable computer. And it's still a great display, it's actually fantastic. The colors are beautiful, it gets pretty bright up to 500 nits, and if you're outside working for a period of time, it's still definitely visible. It's a nice display. Great for editing photos, editing videos, just watching videos, you're gonna have a great time. It has thin bezels all around as well, and there's some rounded corners at the very top. And yeah, there's a notch right there in the middle at the very top of the screen, and it took me about a minute to forget that it's even there. It's non-obtrusive, it doesn't get in the way of any of your content or your work, it just kind of fades away. It's no problem, it's a non-issue. And this is what video quality from the MacBook Air webcam actually looks like, and you're hearing the microphone quality as well right now. Let me know what you think. And the speakers in this machine are decent. Not the absolute best in the world. I wish they got a little bit louder, but they do sound clear and crisp. There's a good amount of warmness and bass to them. For watching videos at home or listening to some tracks while you're working, it's fine, but they're not going to be incredible speakers. So that's the design, and as I mentioned, the portability here is certainly a big feature. So if you're taking this to school, to the coffee shop, to work, on the train, on a plane, or just at home, it's going to be a great portable experience, a real joy to use. But when you think of a thin and light computer, you kind of expect the performance to take a little bit of a hit to accommodate that more portable design, but at least in this case, that's not true. And for the work I do, this computer still performs like an absolute beast. So I have the 8-core CPU with 10-core GPU, 16GB of RAM, and 1TB SSD in my machine. And yes, these specifications are certainly on the higher end of what you can actually configure with this computer, but for me personally, for the work I do, this is what I need to get things done comfortably on this machine. So for everyday light, daily use cases that I would use a computer for and you'd use a computer for, it's an absolute dream machine, of course. Web browsing, bunch of Chrome tabs open, no problem. Emails, no problem. Watching videos, word processing, Keynote, multitasking. It's all an excellent experience. If you just need like an everyday great daily computer, this is the perfect machine for you. If not, it's a little bit overkill. It's very powerful, and for everyday tasks, no issues at all. But I didn't want to just stop there with my testing, of course. So I installed Photoshop and Final Cut Pro and really pushed this machine to its limits for all the work I do. I actually replaced my fully spec'd M1 MacBook Pro that I bought about a year ago, which cost me $6,000 with this machine, and I was very impressed with the performance coming out of this Air. So I've been working on a bunch of big projects with this computer over the past few weeks. A lot of big Photoshop projects, a lot of video projects here and there, including my day in the life video was all edited on this computer. And it didn't even break a sweat at all once. And truthfully, I kind of forgot that I even switched from my MacBook Pro to this MacBook Air. Performance has pretty much been identical, no complaints. The one thing I did notice though is the difference in the size and weight. This computer is so much better to bring around, it's so much more portable and lightweight, it's fantastic. And that's the vision of the MacBook Air. And as I mentioned, I've really experienced no slowness, lag, or delays with this computer in either of these programs, and even exporting my large day in the life video from Final Cut, it really took no time at all, honestly. The only small glimpse of slowness I've experienced with this computer is when I had Final Cut Pro open rendering a huge video, I had Photoshop open editing a big project, the battery was at 30%, and the brightness was at absolute max. That was the only time when the computer was like a little bit slower in Photoshop when I was trying to move things around and try to do some clone stamp work. That was it. Besides that one time, the performance has been absolutely incredible. For the basic tasks, the complex tasks, this machine can handle it all. And like, if you're looking to buy a new MacBook, chances are you know if you're gonna hit your limits with the MacBook Air, and that's why the MacBook Pro is right there for you as well. But for everyday tasks, as I've mentioned, the occasional photo or video edit, the occasional design project, this computer is excellent for all of those things. And yes, I know I have one of the higher spec models, but even some of the lower spec models can still handle some professional work thrown at them as well. So this computer is fantastic for performance. I really have no complaints. Okay, the battery. One of the other big worries about a thin and light laptop is the battery life, and I was definitely a little bit concerned, but from my testing over the past few weeks, I've really had no battery anxiety using this machine for a variety of tasks. Whether it be a big email session, watching videos, web browsing, typing up some notes, a little bit of a Final Cut editing session, editing some photos here and there, I can almost always squeeze out a full day of battery life with this computer without stopping and charging during the middle of a project. Battery life is actually excellent with this machine. The Air sips battery very slowly throughout a day of usage, and even with something like Final Cut open, editing a video with medium brightness, it only went down a few percentage points after a few hours of editing. It's very impressive. However, the one thing that really drains battery life with this computer is having the display on full brightness. So web browsing on full brightness, watching videos, editing videos on full brightness especially, it's going to drain your battery quite fast. So keep that in mind with this computer. And to see a much more detailed look at how the battery life performs throughout a full day of usage, check out my day in the life video with this computer. I show how I use the laptop more specifically and how the battery drains throughout the day. When it comes time to actually charge up this machine, you have two options here. The MagSafe charger, which is great, it's very convenient, or USB-C as well, works great. Okay, so clearly I'm a fan of this laptop, and even though I was a little bit skeptical going in, it's kind of become my dream machine. It has a beautiful thin and light design, a nice display, solid performance for simple and more intensive things, reliable, consistent battery life, and it's all very portable and not stupidly expensive either. And maybe I like this computer just so much because it's kind of the perfect middle ground between the iPad Pro and the MacBook Pro. It has the portability, thinness, and lightness of the iPad with the power, usability, and software capability of the MacBook Pro. It's the perfect fusion between these two devices. And having this laptop around over the past few weeks, it's kind of become my go-to pickup device if I'm going to a coffee shop or just even working at home. It's incredible. Okay, so if you're looking for a new laptop, you need one right now, you know what this computer does, you know what it can't do, you're looking at this MacBook Air, go for it. It's fantastic, especially for school. If you're a student, you're gonna love this machine for daily usage. But if you can wait for the new M2 iPad Pro to launch, and wait for the new M2 Pro MacBook Pro to launch as well to see what those devices offer and if they make more sense for you personally. And the price of the Air will likely decrease a little bit as well by the time those devices release in the fall. And that's pretty much it. That's the M2 MacBook Air. This video was brought to you by Clean My Mac X. If you want your Mac to run just like it did on day one, even years from now, this all-in-one piece of software is the key. It's an incredible tool to take good care of your Mac and help keep its performance for the long term. And there are so many great features like Smart Scan that checks for malware, runs optimizations to speed up your Mac, and helps locate any unnecessary files so you can clean your computer as well. Clean My Mac X also gives you control over apps and processes that are running so you can optimize your computer even more. And there's also a brand new feature called the Menu app, which helps you monitor your storage, CPU, RAM, and battery, as well as gives you tips to protect your Mac from viruses or malware. Personally, I need all the storage space I can get on my computer for big video and photo projects, and Clean My Mac X is a great way to optimize and maximize my available storage space. A new Mac is definitely a big investment, and you want to keep it in tip-top shape from day one so it'll last years and years and years for all the work that you do, and Clean My Mac X is the best way to do that. Get your files in order and your Mac in shape for maximum productivity with Clean My Mac X. Try it today for free at the link in the video description. Okay, so I want to hear your thoughts on the new M2 MacBook Air in the comments down below. What do you think of this computer? Would you buy one? And if you did buy one, what's your experience been like so far? Let me know. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe, and thank you for watching.